Hi, my name is Tom Williams. I'm an immigration attorney. I have approximately 25 years of experience just handling employment-based immigration law. And what I want to do in this series of videos is to talk about certain topics that I think the clients are most interested in. And I'm going to address certain questions that I hear frequently asked. The approach I want to take in these is a very informal one. So I'm going to assume that, or treat this as if a person has called me on the telephone and is asking me questions such as, what is an H-1B visa? What do I need to qualify? And I will give general information to you as you watch these videos so that you will get a basic idea of what the requirements are for each topic. Now, let's first talk about the H-1B visa itself. H-1B visas I call a professional visa. And the reason I call it that is it requires a person to have a 4-year baccalaureate degree in order to qualify. There are 3 basic requirements for the H-1. The first is that the individual, the prospective employee, or what we would call the beneficiary, must hold the equivalent of a bachelor's degree, a 4-year bachelor's degree, in a specific major that is required by the job. Merely holding the bachelor's degree is not necessarily going to qualify the person for the H-1B visa. The major field of study must be related and required by the job. For example, let's say a person comes in and he's got a master's degree in sociology, he's got another master's degree in European literature, and he's got a PhD in philosophy. Well, surely he would qualify because he has all the academic requirements. The answer is no, he will not qualify. If he is given a position or offered a position in the IT field, so he's going to be a systems analyst or software developer, he does not have at least a 4-year baccalaureate in software engineering, computer science, information systems. So he will not qualify for the H-1B visa. One of the more common majors that I see is a bachelor's in commerce. Unfortunately, this is generally a 3-year program. So therefore, it will not qualify for the H-1B. BCom is a 3-year program. The H-1 requires that the person have the equivalent of either have a degree, a 4-year degree, or the academic equivalent of a 4-year degree. So the BCom by itself will not qualify. Another point, even if a person has a bachelor's degree, say in business administration or even an MBA, more recently I am seeing that the prudent thing to do is mention in the application a field of concentration, such as, even if he's got a bachelor's or master's in business administration, you should put with a concentration in marketing, accounting, management. Well, what happens if you do not have a 4-year program or it's not in the right major? You're actually allowed to substitute 3 years of employment experience in the field for each 1 year of academic study that is lacking towards your 4-year degree. For example, let's say you do have a bachelor's of commerce, a 3-year BCom degree, and your focus was in accounting. You're still lacking 1 academic year. But if you have at least 3 years of employment experience as an accountant, then you can take the 3 years of experience, add it to your 3 years of academic study, and probably qualify for the H-1B visa. If your degree is not from the United States, then what you will need is an academic equivalency. Those can be done very quickly within a matter of days. They do not cost much money. What the evaluator will do is they will look at your transcripts and your diploma. They will cross-reference the information and say, yes, this degree from this university is equivalent to a 4-year bachelor's degree from an accredited university in the United States. So that is very easy to handle. It need not be an American college from which you have graduated. Okay, so that's the first requirement. The person himself must qualify, must have the right academics in order to qualify. The second requirement is that the position itself must qualify. That is, the job duties that are specified in the petition must be of such a level of specialty that they require anyone to have at least a bachelor's degree, a 4-year bachelor's degree, in a specific major. Now, let me give you an extreme example of that. Let's say that the individual, the prospective employee or the beneficiary, holds an MBA with a concentration in accounting and auditing. But the position that he's being offered is at a McDonald's as a cashier. Now, if he was offered a job at McDonald's in the accounting department, he would qualify. But because this is a cashier position does not require a person to have a college degree in accounting and auditing. Therefore, the job would fail the test, and the person would not get the H-1B visa. Okay. Third requirement. The third requirement is the sponsor or the employer, prospective employer, must agree to pay a salary at least equal to whatever is the prevailing wage, which is determined by the Department of Labor. It conducts wage surveys every year, and it publishes what they call prevailing wages. And those are surveys based on the job title, job classification, and the locality where the job is. So the employer must agree to pay either the prevailing wage as determined by these wage surveys, or it has to pay at least what it is paying other employees who are similarly employed at that company. So it has to pay the higher of those two figures. So if a company is paying well above the prevailing wage, they may not offer simply the prevailing wage. They have to offer whatever they are paying its other employees in similar positions. The prevailing wages are posted by the Department of Labor on the website. So those can be tracked relatively easy. Okay. Now, another important point to keep in mind with H-1Bs, especially when a person is transferring from a different classification to an H-1, or they're applying for an H-1 for the first time, is the cap. And what the cap is that there is a quota on the number of H-1s, new H-1s that can be issued every year. Currently, that's 65,000 for the main number of H-1s, but there are some additional visas which are available for different classifications. For example, there's an extra 20,000 visas for people who graduate from American universities with a graduate degree. Okay, so the cap is important to keep in mind. Okay. Now, one critical point when you're talking about an H-1B visa, it is not a visa which simply allows a person to work in the United States. It is not unrestricted. It simply grants permission to work for that company that filed the petition for the person. It's actually the employer who is the petitioner and signs the paperwork, not the beneficiary. The petitioner company may request an initial period of up to 3 years. So the person will be granted a period of up to 3 years to work on H-1B classification. Extensions in any multiple may be applied for a total of up to 6 years. And there are extensions if the person qualifies beyond that 6-year period.